Hey, welcome back to Everyday Economics, a podcast that helps you learn about the economic world happening around you every day. I'm your host, Chris Krug, president of the 501c3 nonprofit Franklin News Foundation. Everyday Economics, a production of America's Talking Network. You can check out all of our great podcasts at americastalking.com. We're recording this episode on Wednesday, February 8th. And joining me, as always, is one of the biggest NFL fans from Gabon I've ever met. That's Dr. Orphe Divounguy, PhD economist and devout New York football Giants fan. What's up, Dr. O?
Let me tell you something, man. Look, I lived in New York for a while. I love the New York Giants. I remember their Super Bowl wins. Let's talk Super Bowl and the economic impact.
Let's get you into your lane here, sir. So, two things. One, I'm just going to throw this out as a factoid that I had picked up in the last couple of days. There's an estimated like $17 billion are going to be wagered on the game, which is being played by the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles in a neutral site Super Bowl in Phoenix, Arizona. As it pertains to the Super Bowl itself and, the Valley in Phoenix, there is a projection that this Super Bowl could be worth more than $1 billion in economic benefit to that region. And so these numbers are thrown around.
That's an exaggeration.
Okay, well, right. So let's talk about that. So, and it's like, where does that money really come from? And how would you ever in a million years be able to figure out what actually was generated? But it's always these events, whether it's the Olympics or whether it's the World Cup or whether it's a Super Bowl or whether it's anything that brings large people together in a main event, neutral site. It's always about there's going to be a tremendous amount of economic benefit. And what is your understanding of the reality of that?
There's an interesting study that a research, I'm not going to say their name here, a research and consulting firm did on this topic. And by the way, they're not the only one. It's roughly $500 million. Okay, it's about 450 million bucks that are generated in terms of economic impact. And by economic impact, we mean, the jobs that are created by the event, right? So a lot of them are going to be in the production hospitality sector. And I remember, of course, we have the latest labor market report showed that, of course, leisure and hospitality were kind of the leading sector for job creation, of course, and of course, these types of events will put additional pressure on that sector, right? There will be more job openings than there probably will be workers. And that's also likely going to push wage growth a little bit higher, especially in that area, in the area where the Super Bowl will be played. So anyway, that kind of sums up the economic impact. The conservative estimates in terms of job created, 2,200 to 5,000 jobs.
But these are temporary jobs.
These are temporary.
Like the Super Bowl is a 2-week run-up. And I mean, and what makes Phoenix a little bit more interesting as a host site for this is that they have at this time of the year, every year, the PGA Tour comes in, the Pro Golf Association Tour comes in. They have the Waste Management Open, which is it's a wild event. Lots of people, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a lot of fun. And these two things are coinciding. They're happening in the same weekend. So we're taping this on Wednesday, February 8th. The Waste Management Golf Tournament starts tomorrow, or it will start Thursday, February 9th. And so you have basically in Phoenix about a week's worth of partying and people coming in from out of town. I guess I'm not completely clear on why the cities that host these types of events have to lean into this idea or bother telling people that this is going to be an economic boon for them. I don't get it because I feel like they're not being truthful with the people who are there.
Of course, because it displaces. People ignore the displacement effects, right? You have all these new people coming into town, and whenever new people come into town to party, the locals usually run out. They run out of town, right? And they go spend their money elsewhere. And so these estimates are usually overselling the economic impact of the event, let alone the fact that the event is actually short-lived, temporary, that a lot of these people who are going to be working won't have that job after the event. I mean, I love the Super Bowl. It's great to watch and everything. But in terms of economic impact, it is pretty decent. It's pretty good to have it, right? But the economic impact is not as large as the NFL or people who, support these events might claim. It's just not necessarily there.
And I mean, are taxpayers in some way subsidizing events such as this?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, yes, some people will argue, well, it will generate some tax dollars. It does, maybe the government will see $12 to $17 million or something like that. But any kind of subsidy from taxpayers to the event will actually offset some of that. Yes, it's in terms of economics, it's not necessarily there. We've seen, I mean, in the world of soccer, what we call in my part, on the other side of the world, football.
Yes.
The World Cup usually comes at a massive loss to the host nation.
Yeah. Same deal with
massive
the Olympics.
Loss. That's right. Same with the Olympics. As fun as these sporting events are, there are no major long-term economic benefits. And a lot of times it ends up being costly.
Well, it's always fun to talk with you about things like the Super Bowl. So who's your pick? It's the Eagles and the Chiefs. The point spread in this game is 1.5, and it's very, very, very tight. Two interesting teams. I know you've been following it extremely close.
I stopped watching football a long time ago. It's just because I don't have that much time. But I do enjoy the sport. I mean, I will be tuning in. I remember the days where Philadelphia, Donovan McNabb was playing for Philadelphia, for the Eagles. Young agile quarterback that was just, faking the pass and running through the middle and getting those yards for his team. I thought that was courageous of a quarterback. We didn't have that many quarterbacks that could run the ball 12, 15 years ago. I will be watching, and no, I will not reveal who I'm cheering for this Super Bowl Sunday.
Just your ability to discuss it at that level demonstrates once again that you are today's Renaissance man. For Orphe Divounguy, this has been Chris Krug. Subscribe to Everyday Economics and other quality podcasts at americastalking.com.